Well, welcome back for the second portion of the Italian Radio Hour. And this is a portion of the program you don't want to miss, especially if you are planning to go to Italy. And so we have with us a very special guest, Gabriella Mileti, the Director of Special Programs with NIAF's Voyage of Discovery. Benvenuta.
Grazie. Thank you so much.
So obviously, as the director of Istituto Mondo Italiano, we have a lot of students, young students that always contact us to see what are some of the opportunities that they would have to explore Italy, and possibly with an organization that can also take care of great programming. So I always spend some time also on social media to see who is doing what. And so it's always very refreshing when you see a testimonial of someone who has benefited from the program, the Voyage of Discovery that we will be talking about today during the program. And if I can just share my screen for a second, here is Jared Rossi, who was one of the participants last year, who said that the Voyage of Discovery, it was an experience of a lifetime, right? You go to Italy, and before you know, you find out more about your roots. Maybe you gain a second family, and it's just an experience is going to stay with you forever. So before we get to Jared's experience, I think it would be nice to share with our audience a little bit about you, Gabriella. So where are you originally from?
So I'm actually originally from Cleveland, Ohio, so not far from Viviana, but my parents are from Italy. My mother is from Calabria, provincia di Reggio, and my father, his parents were immigrants from Italy, from Sicilia, Abruzzo, and Padova. So I'm literally Miss Italia.
So, if I may ask you, was being Italian something that you always took for granted, or is it something that your Italianness you kind of developed as you were growing up? Because just because we live in an Italian household, I mean, we usually take our heritage for granted, or there are times that people will also deny to fit in, so to speak. So what was your tuo percorso? So when did you embrace your Italianness?
So I'm so blessed to have two amazing parents who instilled in me and my three other siblings the Italian culture, language, cuisine, and everything that comes in between from a very young age. My mother's whole side of the family still lives in Italy. So ever since we were infants, we were traveling back and forth from Calabria to Cleveland. And that's where we spent the majority of our time. All of our summers were in Italy. We would always start a couple days in Rome and then work our way down the boot to the tippy toe, and always be with my mother's family in Calabria. And so we grew up with the Italian language. We are dual citizens. We're blessed in that manner that I didn't have to go through any crazy paperwork or Italian bureaucracy to get the citizenship. And so I guess you could say I kind of took it for granted because I figured just everyone else does this, you know. But you know, as I grew older, I realized not everyone is lucky enough to go to Italy every single year since they've been born and see all of the wonders that Italy has to offer. So I'm very grateful to my parents who instilled that in us at a very young age.
And then you coupled that with also some studies in the fashion industry,
yes.
Some travel and writing. So you're really experiencing it all, right?
Yes, absolutely. When I you know, started becoming a teenager and we started, you know, we were still going to Italy, I told my mom, I have to live in Italy one day. And she said, okay, you know, whatever you want to do. So after I graduated from John Carroll University in Cleveland, they sent me to Milan to study fashion, because I had a passion for fashion. So they said, okay, we're gonna send you to the fashion capital of the world. I studied in Milan for an additional 3 years in fashion. And then I landed a job with Glamour Italia. And I had the job a million girls would kill for, just like The Devil Wears Prada. It was an amazing position with the magazine, and I loved it, and I loved living in Italy. But then I got sick of it, and I came back to America.
Just for variation a little bit. You just
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
But obviously, excuse me, these interests and also the skills that you had built, you know, you're bilingual, you have moved and lived in overseas. Then you started to collaborate or work for NIAF as the Director of Special Programs. Can we, everyone knows who NIAF is, but I think it doesn't hurt to explain a little bit about what the National Italian American Foundation does, because it really is a giant, so to speak, within the Italian American community. And there are so many different programs. So can you tell us a little bit about the organization?
Of course. So NIAF was founded in 1975 in Washington, D.C. to serve as the voice for Italian Americans in Washington. At the time, you know, Italian Americans weren't receiving the roles that they should have. They were discriminated against. It was a different time. So that's where the founders came together and decided to create this foundation in our nation's capital and lobby for those positions on Capitol Hill and beyond. But now today, you know, we're obviously, you know, we Italian Americans have reached the highest levels of every industry. I think the only thing that is missing now, President of the United States, that one day we'll have an Italian, hopefully. But so now, you know, NIAF is we promote the Italian culture throughout the United States through our programs, through our community outreach. We also serve as the bridge to Italy for Italians as well. We have very close ties with the Italian regions, regional government, the actual government in Rome, and you know, we are that presence here in America. We are the go-to Italian organization when anything happens, especially if they're tearing down Columbus statues. You're going to hear from them.
So, and then obviously there is the very famous, you know, the Fiore all'Occhiello, the gala,
Yes.
right? That usually attracts hundreds of guests for a very, very, very special evening that will bring guests from Italy or key representatives of the Italian American community. I can wait to get my tickets for the upcoming October gala this year. So now the introduction of the program was indeed about the Voyage of Discovery, which is indeed a program that you have been curating and putting together for quite some time. And again, for those of you who might see this interview on our YouTube channel, I just, as I said, I always look for authentic pictures of people that have experienced anything that we talk about. And again, I just want to share one more picture, and then we can start our conversation about the program from here. I think this picture speaks 1,000 words of young people that have been blessed to go to Italy and experience it, make new friendships, maybe challenge themselves because this is their first time going to Italy. But I see those huge smiles, and they are, again, priceless. So can you tell us a little bit about the program? What kind of experience can the participants expect to have on the Voyage of Discovery?
Well, it's a life-changing experience, Viviana. It really is. And I'm not just saying that because I run the program.
I want to come too, although I've been to different times. But Yes, sorry for the interruption.
No, it's okay. You know, you're bringing together 20 strangers from all over the United States. It's not just from New York and New Jersey. We select students from all over the United States. You bring them together, and the first day, you know, at the airport, they're just a little shy, and you know, they don't know what to expect. On the last day, when we say goodbye to each other at Rome Fiumicino, there is not a dry eye in around. They, just like you said, that picture, they're smiling from from ear to ear. It really is, they come back with 20 new, or excuse me, 19 or 20 new friends. And it really is life-changing. These are students who have never been to Italy before. Perhaps they don't know much about the Italian culture because maybe their grandparents or their great-grandparents have passed away, or maybe they do know a lot, but maybe they don't know much about modern Italy, and they've never been there before. So when I say it's literally life-changing, it is, because I strive to show them a 360 degree angle of the Italian culture, from, you know, from the food and the wine and the cuisine and the you know,
the UNESCO
fashion,
sites. So we could, yes, the UNESCO sites are
exactly the UNESCO sites.
And so it seems to be really an action-packed experience. And now how long is this the actual voyage? How long does it last?
It lasts 2 weeks. And starting this year, we're kicking off a new take on the itinerary. We'll be starting in Rome for the first 4 days, and then we'll be traveling to the NIAF region of honor and spending the rest of the trip in the region of honor. Every year, NIAF makes an official, you know, comes to, or delegates an Italian region as the NIAF region of honor. It's an official accord that we take with the local regional government. And we then promote that region throughout all of our doings throughout the year, whether it's through the Voyage of Discovery, the gala, our social media, Ambassador Magazine. And so then we spend the rest of the trip after our 4 days in Rome in the region, really exploring everything there is to explore in the region. And it's really great because a lot of the students maybe wouldn't have ever thought to go to Piemonte or Abruzzo or Molise or whatever, you know, because as we know, a lot of the American tourists just go to Rome, Florence, and Venice. And so it's a great program.
So it sounds too good to be true. Can it get any better? How much is this trip going to cost the participants?
It is an all expenses paid trip. So NIAF covers international airfare, hotel, transportation, most of the meals on the itinerary, not all of them, because we do have times of free time and
go off on their own.
So really it costs whatever you want to spend in Italy, and then a $150 deposit for the trip, and then that's it.
And I think we should spend a few minutes now to really thank the visionary person that fell in love with Italy about maybe even over 20 some years ago. Can we talk a little bit about Ambassador Peter Secchia and how this mission came all about, thanks to not only his vision, but also his financial support?
Yes, so all of this is made possible through Ambassador Peter Secchia, who unfortunately is not with us anymore on this earth. But he is the individual who came up with the idea and who founded it. Ambassador Secchia was the American ambassador to Italy under the George H.W. Bush administration. He was also, you know, he's 100% Italian, and he was always passionate about his Italian roots. Actually, when he was serving in the Marine Corps as a young college student, or as a young guy, He made a trip to Italy and he fell in love with it. And then several decades down the road, he was fortunate enough to become ambassador. And when he was the American ambassador, he came in contact with many college-age students and realized what a trip to Italy, how much it transforms a young student during their formative years. So when after his ambassadorship, he returned to the States and he joined the NIAF board, and he pitched the idea about a program that would take students to Italy. And thanks to his generosity, he fully funded the program. And in most recent years, last year, we received an additional $2.5 million to secure the longevity of the program. So this year we are fortunate to take now 2 groups, thanks to
wonderful.
Yes, we'll be taking 2 groups this year with 24 students each. So a total of 48 lucky Italian Americans will be going to Italy this year for free, thanks to Ambassador Secchia.
Well, this is very important because, you know, we are in a period where a lot of Italian American organizations thrived when the first wave of migrations that were looking for like-minded individuals. And then, you know, now we are like 100 years, 60 years away from that. And so there is a sense of pride of being Italian, but there has to be also some sort of commitment into the new generations to really explore on their own the dimension of their Italianness. And but sometimes they don't know where to go, where to start. Is it just, you know, the traditions that the family maybe kept inside the household? Is it maybe again a lifetime experience like what they will have, or maybe finding others? So as I said, I personally, my very first trip was with my entire family. We drove from Rome all the way to London. Obviously, it was Channel, you know, I stopped in Paris. And people ask me, you were born with itchy feet? It's like, I don't know if I was born with itchy feet, but definitely my parents instilled something or an experience, an interest and curiosity that when we were very young, that developed, you know, over the years in my professional career into these you know, studying different languages, working and being an expat and coming back and everything. So as I said, this is the beginning. Once they open that door,
exactly,
they will add many more stamps to that passport. So in order to conclude our conversation, I want to make sure that everyone has all the information in order to apply, because the deadline is coming up. So
yes, it is.
Gabriella, if you don't mind, again, giving the systematic information, what to do, by when to do,
yes.
I will leave it up to you.
Of course. So if you are an Italian American college student between the ages of 18 and 23, full-time, and you've never been to Italy before, you should apply, but you better get going, because like Viviana said, the deadline is January 31st. So you're going to want to hop onto our website, niaf.org. That's NIAF.org. And the application is online. Once you fill out the application, you'll also need to submit 2 letters of recommendation, your transcript, and your resume. And you have to do all of this by January 31st. So get moving.
It's definitely worth it.
Yes, it's definitely worth it. You have nothing to lose, literally.
So, and if you ever need a additional chaperones, Gabriella, you have my number now.
Yes, I do.
Well, I thank you very much for telling our audience about this beautiful program. Please go onto the website. Again, lifetime opportunities. They always come by and they're gone after that. And I want to thank everyone else that is tuning into the program. I shall see you next Thursday for another episode of the Italian Radio Hour. Until next time, alla prossima. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, grazie.